Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 when posting videos to this channel. And here on this channel I start things off with, hey, if it's your birthday, happy birthday. Please enjoy this digital confection that I found for you. Well, if you've been following me on social media at all, you know that I had a busy weekend recently where my youngest son graduated from high school, summa cum laude I might add, and I'm very proud of him for that. Also, my daughter had her prom. I also purchased a car in that same weekend, so it's a big weekend that was. Anyway, today I'm going to introduce you to my 2000 Acura Integra LS, and perhaps by the end of the video you're not going to like me very much, so stay tuned. Now, as I mentioned, this is a 2000 Acura Integra LS, and this is the first car I've ever purchased sight unseen off of the internet, but I saw it and I had to have it, and walking around this, I'm sure you'll see why. It's pretty darn clean. Carfax was clean. It was a two-owner car from what I can understand, and both appeared to be female. But you can see that it's got like no rust, no dents, no dings, no scratches really to speak of or anything, any imperfections whatsoever in the body, which is the main reason that I purchased it. Well, one of the reasons I think this car is so clean, it came from Alabama, I believe. Alabama or Missouri, someplace in the South. And as far as I can tell, there's no flood damage on it. It's got 134,000 miles on it. It has an automatic transmission. Actually, that was an attractive thing to me. The interior is just as clean as the exterior of the car. It is clean. Everything is here, intact. Original equipment. Now, the hatch has a common problem that a lot of these Integras have, in that it doesn't open like it should unless you've got the key in it. But back here is not quite as clean as the rest of the car. There's some issues with the carpet here. I'm not overly concerned about that. I kind of wish that was different, but hey, it is what it is. What I'm very happy to see is that all this plastic back here is pretty much intact, just with very few scratches or issues or anything that at least I can find back here. Yeah, I bet you weren't expecting that. So this is under the hood, which is just as clean as the rest of the car, aside from the bright red valve cover and bright red air cleaner cover. I don't mind those so much. I'm not so happy about the aftermarket cap, rotor, and wires though. I freaking hate those. And it's got an aftermarket radiator as well, and probably got aftermarket timing belt parts, which, you know, it's probably not that bad. It really just depends on the parts that they use. But for the most part, if I can say part one more time, this is a clean, unmolested Acura Integra from the year 2000. And by the way, this is a 1.8 liter non-VTEC engine, also known as the B18B1. Now, I just now saw something that I didn't see before, but it backs up something I've said for years about Carfax. People say, oh, it's got a clean Carfax, it's got to be good. No, that is not true. Carfax just reports, or just shows you what was reported. If it wasn't reported, then it doesn't end up in the Carfax, and this is a prime example. I'm pretty sure this fender was repaired and repainted, and you can see by the mask lines here, and you got a little bit of overspray up here. There was some paint work done here on this right front quarter. I mean, it was well done. I honestly didn't spot it until just now, but like I said, you cannot always trust Carfax to tell you all the facts. Now, a real quick, simple check that you can do to see if, well, this fender is full of filler or if they actually replaced it, is just take like a refrigerator magnet and stick it on there. And if it won't stick, or if there's an area where it won't stick, then that is probably full of filler. But this one, it seems to be sticking everywhere. So I suspect they replaced this fender and then repainted it. The plot thickens. I just looked at the other side, and once again, there's some areas in here that have been painted. So this front has been repainted. Well, this side also doesn't seem to be gummed up with filler. The undercarriage is more of the same, and one area that I usually look at with Hondas is the rear bumper up under the cover, the metal part. You can see there's a little bit of rust here. Nothing too damaging that I can see, no holes or anything like that, but I almost always find a little bit of rust back here on these. The rest of the undercarriage, however, is looking really good. That's an original muffler. All of this rear suspension back here looks good to me. These calipers, however, look like they might have been replaced at some point. And see that orange dust back there? I bet that bolt is loose or something's going on there. Anytime I see orange dust, it almost always indicates a loose something. Maybe not. Maybe it's just stuff off the brake pads, hard to say. Either way, like these bushings back here look good. These look good. It's another common area on Civics and Integras to have tons of rust here. Don't really see it, which I'm grateful for. Although that bushing, that trailing arm bushing up at the top, is showing typical signs of wear. You might be able to see the cracks up there. Anyway, this, which I'm very interested in, this piece of plastic that houses all these fuel and brake lines, untouched. Very happy about that. Original converter, original exhaust. Nothing in the floor or anything there that would indicate that there was like a severe collision. I'm not sure what the issue was, but it certainly had some kind of issue. For it to get new paint up front here, that ball joint boot is ripped. Or I'm sorry, tie rod end. The ball joint boot is also ripped. To be expected for its age and low mileage. Looks like this thing sat. There's a lot of spider webs. Typical oil leaks. Somebody replaced the oil pan gasket. Oil pan gasket is a fairly typical thing. Distributor is another commonplace. But as far as the front end, this is what's confusing. It doesn't look like, everything looks like it was put together properly. Even if there was some work that was done, it looks like it was done well. I've never heard of prime well tires. I'm guessing they were affordable, but they're cracked and dry rotted, but I didn't get this car for the tires. But I am excited to see this. These center caps on the wheels, those all look really good. This one's a little corroded, not a lot. And this one too. All the wheels look excellent, save these two spots of curb rash on the left front wheel. I purchased this car for $6,800. They wanted $7,000 for it. They gave me $200 off. I guess that's something. But still, in my mind, I feel that I paid about $1,500 to $2,000 too much for it, but that's kind of expected when I buy from a used car lot. In addition to that, I spent about $620 getting it shipped from Atlanta, where I bought it, up to Cincinnati, where my shop is. And by the time I figured up, renting a trailer, driving down to Atlanta, and probably staying a night and then driving back, the cost was about the same, and I saved a whole bunch of time by just having it shipped. And shipping a vehicle is also something I've never done before, but it worked out great, and here the car is, and I've had no issues with it. So I'm happy with the way that part of it went down, but this is the part of the video that you may not be so happy about. You probably noticed that I've already pulled in my 2000 Acura Integra GSR, and I also have a 2001 Acura Integra Type R. And both of these cars I have intentions on restoring, let's say. But the parts for these cars are getting harder and harder to find. And in fact, I've spent the past year and a half just trying to scrounge up different parts that I need for those vehicles to get them where I'd like them to be after the restoration is complete. To me, this seems like the shortest route to that. This car has, every body panel on it is straight, whereas on the GSR, virtually every body panel is either rusted or dented. And they're the same color. The mirrors on the GSR are, the peeling and everything, they need repainting, but the mirrors on this car are good to go. They could literally be taken off and put on the GSR right now if I wanted to. Also, I've always hated the aftermarket radio in the GSR. This one has an original equipment Acura radio with a CD player, no doubt. I don't really care about Bluetooth connectivity and all that other kind of stuff. I want the original look back to the car, back to the way it was. And this one has that radio that I can do that with. Additionally, with the GSR, the steering wheel when I got it was, it was a leather wrapped steering wheel, but it got kind of sticky and oogie and weird. The steering wheel in this car is good. The window moldings along the windows on both sides, on the Type R in particular, these are chunked up pretty good. And it also has, the window run channel has a little bit of a wrinkle in it. And one of the door seals along the top of the driver's door on the Type R is also having a problem. These are parts that I'm having a hard time finding, but they're right here in this car that I just bought. Additionally, the plastic in the back of the Type R, as far as the panels on the inside, they're really scuffed up, and one of them is actually broken. Try to find those, you can't, but those same panels in this car are good to go. Also, the jack is good in this car, the jack to jack the vehicle up. The one in the Type R was completely rotted away. In short, this is a great parts car, not only for one restoration, but for two restorations that I plan to be doing in the not too distant future on both a GSR and a Type R, which I consider more of a car than an LS, which just has the basic 1.8 liter engine, not to mention it's an automatic. So there's really not much there that's really exciting, but it was to me because I knew that I don't see anybody, trying to soup up an automatic LS Integra like this. So the fact that it was unmolested, and trying to find unmolested Integras these days is also something that's becoming very difficult to do. So I feel like I lucked out despite the fact that I paid too much, and I'm hoping to get a return on my investment in all of those parts I plan to harvest from this one and put onto the other cars. So at the end of the day, I hope my investment pays off. I just found that paintwork on the front, maybe that was done to correct some cosmetic issue, I don't know. I didn't really see evidence of collision damage, and that's encouraging. But the fresh paint, I don't know. But they did a good job because silver is one of the harder colors to match, and they seem to do a pretty good job with that. Anyway, I'm happy with the purchase. I'm happy to have these parts. I have no intentions of putting this on the road at all. It is literally a parts car. In fact, I've already given it a name, the Silver Bullet. And for those of you not in the repair industry, basically that's what we call, parts that we throw at a car. The Silver Bullet that's gonna fix it. Anyway, that's my new 2000 Acura Integra LS and its purpose in life, which, as I said, you might not like so much. And I know somebody's going to say the question, well, Eric, why don't you, since the body's good on this one, why don't you take all the stuff off the GSR and put it onto this? Thought about it briefly. I don't know. I honestly don't know which way is the way to go. I'm a little ways off before I start working on the restorations of these cars anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. But just on a whim, I checked the internet, I found this, I bit, here it is, and I'll probably do little things like switch the mirrors and the radio and all that kind of stuff over. But when I get deep into the restoration, I have to plan for this thing not running anymore, because what I really want off of this car more than anything else are those brake and fuel lines that run the full length back there. Those are completely rotted out. In fact, one of them has been repaired on the Type R. I want all of that to go away and be put back to original. This car has what I need, but in order to get that stuff out of there, well, the front subframe's got to come out. A lot of the fuel tank has to come out, so it's a pretty big undertaking, and it's likely not going back together in running condition. So not wanting to push this around the shop, I kind of need to wait until I'm ready to commit to that restoration before I, move any further beyond things like mirrors and radios. But just know that I have it and know what it's for. Anyway, now you've been introduced to the car, and I hope you found this video interesting. Love to hear your comments on my plans and my thoughts, and tell me what an evil person I am for doing this. Whatever you need to do down in the comments. I'll put links in the description to additional videos and information, including on the GSR and the Type R, if you want to learn more about that stuff. If you have automotive questions I didn't cover in today's video, I ask that you head to ericthecarguy.com, also linked in the description. Thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. I will see you next time.